Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today I am once again building something using Ben Eadie's foam chainmail and scale mail. He recently launched his Kickstarter, which has been really successful. He reached his goal in like 2.5 days. And I thought I would build something else from it just for fun. Instead of trying to build something from scratch from the base up, I thought I would start with a pre-made helmet and just build on top of it. A while back, you may remember I built a steampunk version of Iron Man, and I'm always on the lookout for those type of helmets when they go on sale, usually around Christmas or Halloween after. They drop down in price drastically, and I picked up one right around Christmas time for like $60, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to turn an Iron Man into a Knights Templar Iron Man. I realize that the concept of that seems a bit ludicrous, but we're going to go with it. So today we are building a Knights Templar Iron Man using Ben Eadie's scale and chainmail. Let's get to building. The first thing that you're probably going to notice is this is a War Machine helmet, not a Iron Man helmet. I thought the Templar color scheme kind of fit more along the lines of Iron Man better, and Knights Templar War Machine sounds like some demented sort of torture device, so I went with Iron Man as the theme instead. I pull it out of the package, put in some batteries, and give everything a light sanding with some 220 grit sandpaper to prepare the surface for super glue. Just in case you didn't see the last video, this is Eadie's EVA foam scale mail that he is currently running a Kickstarter for. It comes in sheets with 6 strips of perforated mail. Pull out the pieces, remove the holes, and get ready to start weaving together some epic foam armory. There are 2 patterns on here. One, the loops at the top line up in between the scale, and the other, the loops line up in the middle of the scale. This allows you to stagger your scales if you want to, or if you use just one set of them, you can make them line up even. I heat my sheet of scale mail up with my heat gun to let it flatten out, then I super glue it into place, starting with the top and working my way down to the back of the helmet. Once glued down, I trim off excess and make small adjustments here and there to make it fit. His chainmail works just like the scale mail does. You push the circles through each other row after row until you have a sheet of chainmail. You can purchase this on Ben's website already, foamarmory.com. I'll put links to it down in the description down below. I'm going to use chainmail as a decorative panel on the sides of the helmet, so I need to trim it off to fit the shape. I just hold it up to the area and mark what to cut off. I know some of you are thinking that I'm wasting all those edges. You'd be wrong. Just like all the little dots that come from the perforation, I save all these cutoffs and I'm going to use them for recesses on other builds. To cap off the sides of these panels of scale mail and chainmail, I cut small strips of 4mm EVA and super glue them along the edges, cutting as I go. Pulled some scrap 10mm EVA out of my scrap barrel and decided to cover up the ears with some wooden shields. I know that the Templar shields were more like kite shaped, but I thought it would cover the shape that is already existing there and kind of have a cool look to it. So it's a pretty simple construction. You cut a circle, score some lines to simulate wood planks, and add some 2mm trim over the top as a border. To make the rivets on my little shields, I just took the cutting wheel off my rotary tool bit and plunged the small tip into the foam. I'm really enjoying this foot pedal operated rotary tool. Decided to put a cross over the faceplate. I put down some painter's tape over the area and sketch it out. Didn't really like the first try, so I switched over to the other side of the tape and made some sharper edges. I only need half. When I transfer the shape to the foam, I'll just flip it over and trace it again the opposite way. Originally, I was going to actually add hinges at the top so that it looked like it was how it opened, but it didn't really work, so I made fake ones out of an EVA dowel and some small pieces of 2mm foam. The latches on the bottom will work, however. I just screwed them onto the plastic and bend them a little to allow them to close properly. I seal all the surfaces with 2 coats of black spray paint. Next, I went in with some Plaid Effects acrylic paint and put down a base coat in different colors. The white and the red took about 3 coats to get a good coverage. Probably shouldn't have sprayed black down there on the faceplate. I could have easily just sprayed it white, but it's already done now, so moving on. I taped off some of the areas of the mask so that I could easily lay down a rough layer of rub and buff over certain areas. Once the silver dried, I went in and hit the other areas with gold in the same way. I use a cheap old chip brush and move in all directions with a relatively dry brush application. After laying down a clear coat, it was time to dirty it up a bit. I used some brown and black shoe polish, smear it all over, and wipe away the high points with a paper towel. Make multiple passes to build up layers. My guy's gonna look like he's been through the thick of things for a while. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I am super happy with the way it turned out. Thanks again to Ben Eadie and his partner Stephanie Chan for allowing me to test out their products. They make some amazing stuff. They are really trying to push the materials available to us makers and give us some awesome stuff to simplify some of those harder to tackle replicas. And I was so pumped with this that as soon as I finished it, I was like, I think I need to make this a full cosplay build. So let me know in the comments down below if you think I should fully kit this thing out, give myself some chainmail arms and hybrid armor mixed between a Templar and Iron Man. I've got some ideas brewing in my head that would probably make this a pretty epic build out. Maybe you will try and make one of these builds yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to incorporate something from the past with the present and make something completely new. Yeah. Maybe you'll get some...
Yay!
And inevitably, they're gonna ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these, tell them, much props. Let's see, I gotta pull that off. I gotta widen the space for my big old head. And I guess I am...
Good night, Templar Iron Man. Peace out.
Thanks as always to my Patreon members. If you enjoy what I do here on the channel, please consider joining this awesome group of people to help me make the channel bigger and better. Let's share that creativity.